Hello and welcome to the Linux Panic YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be installing Arch Linux in the year 2025. So, let's get into the video. As you can see here, if I click in, this is the Arch Linux ISO. I will be installing it on a QEMU virtual machine. This is as close to bare metal as I can get, and I am using the Steam hardware survey reporting as basis for what this operating system, this virtual machine has. So this virtual machine has 16 gigs of RAM and 6 cores assigned to it, as that is the most common hardware configuration that Steam reports in the Steam hardware survey. So here we are. This is using the Linux kernel 6.12.7, and that's where we get grooving. So first things first, we need to make sure that we can talk to the network and talk to the internet, which we can indeed do. As we can see, we're on average at 14.9 milliseconds. It's pretty damn good for Cloudflare. So now that we've done that, we need to go into CFDisk and make changes, or make a disk available for ourselves. So do that, we type CFDisk, and it'll ask us what label type do we want for our disk. It is recommended that if you're using a disk of less than 2 terabytes in size, that you use the DOS partition table, although you can use GPT or anything, or any one of the other two if you want to. I'm going to be using the DOS one, as this virtual disk is less than 2 terabytes in size. You are left here with a choice of what you want to do. We need to create our boot partition. So I am going to make a 512 megabyte boot partition, and then we will do it with primary and then hit B. This will then make it bootable once we write it to the disk. It's important you remember to do that. And then under free space, we want to hit enter, enter, and enter. This one makes VDA 2 or virtual disk 2. For me, it will be VDA. For you, it should be SDA, or it may be something different based off your hardware configuration. But for me, it's VDA 1 and 2. Now that we've done that, we need to press right on the arrow keys to go to write. If you do not type yes, it will not make the changes. And that is important to remember. And you'll know it's done that because at the bottom of your screen, it'll be in blue text, the partition table has been altered, which is what we want. To see that it has done that, we need to do clear. We don't need to do clear, but you need to do lsblk, as this will then list the blocks, as we can see here. VDA disk has 2 partitions on it, 1 and 2, one of them being at 512 meg, and the other one being 39.5 gig, which is good. Now that we've done that, we need to make file systems for these. To do that, we do make file system.ext4 on dev VDA1 and then dev VDA2. Now that we've done that, this has now been made. We once again, for our own sanity, check the blocks. They are still there, which is good. Now we need to mount 2 things. We need to mount we need to put the mount point on VDA2 and make a mount boot point for VDA1. The first things first, we need to mount /dev VDA2 to MNT. Now we need to make directory mount boot to, or mount boot, and then we need to mount that. So mount /dev VDA1 to MNT boot. And then if we do list blocks, it will show us that they are indeed mounted in the places we want them to be put. So we can now clear. I'll just bring that down so you can see it. Now that we've done that, we need to use Packstrap. Packstrap is the tool that downloads and installs the software that we need to actually get the operating system working. So to do that, we just do Packstrap MNT, and what we need to download is base base devel, Linux firmware, and I'm going to install a text editor at the same time, being Vim. As you can see here at the bottom of the screen, it is a total of 155 packages. How long this takes to download and install will vary on will very much depend on your hardware, as well as your internet connection. As you can see here, it's downloading relatively fast. Based off what the Steam hardware survey shows, you also have decent hardware as well, so this will very much depend on your internet connection. So whilst we wait, we will have a quick sip. There we go. That feels good. So, early compressed CPIO, good, successful. So the reason why I suggest making the boot partition a total of 512 megabytes in size is because this is my 4th attempt at recording this video, because I normally make it 128 megabytes in size. Because of that, it doesn't have the space it needs to be able to install Grub as well. So, boot partition, 512 megabytes in size. That's perfectly reasonable. Now that we've done this, and we've confirmed this took a total 57.139 seconds to install, what we need to do is we need to generate our FS tab. This is just a file system tab for installing, well, to tell the file system where everything is upon booting, and I will talk you through the process of doing it. So what we need to do is we need to generate the file system tab using doing capital U. This uses the UUID identifier, which is the identifier for the drive. This will never change. And the reason why I recommend using the UUID identifier is in case you add another drive into your system later on down the line. It may change the drive labeling and prevent your system from being able to boot correctly. But using the UUID, it won't change, but using /dev/SDA1, 2, 3, whatever you want to do, whatever your drive labeling is, adding in another disk or removing a disk may change that and prevent your operating system from booting correctly. It's worth keeping that in mind. So we do U, then we want to do mnt and put that into /mnt etc fs tab. No errors coming up, nothing coming up means it's done and it's installed it properly. So now we need to enter a Chroot environment, which is basically just entering into the installed operating system without having to boot it. Because at the current moment in time, installed, but it's not bootable. We're going to change that. So we want to enter the environment on mount, and we wish to use bash as our shell. So bin/bash. And once this goes from red here to white there, that means we're now inside the installed operating system. There are 2 bits of software we need to install. Well, we don't have to install if we don't want to be able to use the internet or boot the operating system. So what we want to do is pacman -s, network manager, and grub. You don't have to use network manager or grub if you don't want to. I just use them because they both work. It's entirely up to you, but from my own experience, it's just easier using network manager and grub. Again, your preferences may vary. So now that we've done that, we need to enable network manager. This is to ensure that we have networking capabilities upon the system turning on. You can set it so it doesn't automatically start networking upon the operating system start. That's up to you. That is entirely your own system and your prerogative to do so. So now that we've done that, we need to install the grub bootloader to our disk so we can actually boot the operating system and use it. So to do that, we do grub -install /dev/VDA. And what's going on here is what we're looking for is installing for i386 PC and then no error, which we've got here, which means this is now bootable. However, no config for it yet. So we need to make that. So grub make config, mkconfig, -o boot grub.cfg. And that is generating the config for us, which is exactly what we want. Now that we've done that, we need to make a password for passwd. I'm just giving it the password of Arch because this operating system isn't going to live past this video. Now that we've done that, we need to use a locale for the operating system. So what we're going to do is we're going to do vim/etc/locale.gen, and we're going to scroll until we find the locale we want, which in my case is going to be ENGB. So you just scroll until you find the variation you want to use. In my case, ENGB ISO 8859-1 will be what I'm going to use. Leave Vim with using that. And then we want to do locale gen, so that'll just generate the locale based off of our selection, which again is that. And then we need to do vim/etc/locale.conf, and then input your locale information here. So in my case, it is just going to be lang equals en underscore GB dash ISO 8859-1. No, it's just going to be 8859-1. Sorry, I was just turning myself off there. That would be for mine. Yours will vary, of course. And then this needs a host name, so we'll just do vim/etc/hostname. Host name, and in this case we're just going to go, yes, its host name will be Arch. So once we've done that, we can leave Vim, save and leave it, and then we need to set our time zone. Do that, we do ln-sf, and then user share zone Europe London /etc/local time. Yours will vary depending on where you are in the world. Fill out the information as and where. So that's the time zone data done. We will clear the screen and exit the operating system. umount -r, so recursively mnt. -r. There we go. Then reboot. So this will then give us the operating system. As we can see here, we have advanced options and then Arch Linux. Let's wait for it to boot. We have quick sip. So root Arch, and then pacman -s ifh. Yes. ifh. Bada bing. Would you look at that? Fully installed system in a total of 15 minutes. Which is pretty good. As you can see here, it's got 6 cores with 16 gigs of RAM. As promised. Anyway, if you liked the video, hit the like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button. They both seem to work, even though you can only see one of them. And remember, when you use Linux, don't panic. That's my job. Anyway, I hope you have a good day, good evening, good night, good whatever it is, wherever you are. Goodbye.